Once upon a time, in a very beautiful African village called Zauntaka, cradled by the songs of griots and ancestral rituals, it was a haven of peace. This village was located somewhere in West Africa. At the heart of this peaceful village lived gentle Fatima. Fatima was a very beautiful African woman, with a very wise, kind, and generous air. Her beauty was so radiant that she was compared to the sunset. Fatima loved her family very much with unconditional love. She was highly respected in the village because of her generosity and wisdom. Fatima had a very handsome son named Jelani, who was 18 years old. He was a pragmatic and serious young man. He lived in the neighboring village, where he had gone to work. Jelani loved his mother Fatima very much. In every prayer, he included her in his plans for the future, and dreamed of a bright future for them. 9 months later, after leaving his home village, where his mother Fatima lived, Jelani returned from the neighboring village with news that stirred the heart of his mother Fatima, who had not seen him for months. He was in love and had married a breathtakingly beautiful woman, Sefertu. However, even though his mother was happy for him, it didn't stop her from feeling a slight distrust, because Fatima was a little worried. It had only been 9 months since her son Jelani left, and he was returning in the 10th month with a wife. But like any mother, she did not judge him, but instead encouraged and blessed their union. Yet in her heart, distrust lingered eternally about what was happening. Sefertu, Fatima's new daughter-in-law, was incredibly beautiful. She dressed like a noble woman, was arrogant and proud, and wore luxurious braids. Sefertu had all the assets an average woman would want to have: her chest and her behind. Everything was well endowed. Sefertu didn't smile much. She was very mysterious and did not like to associate with the other villagers in the village. Sefertu greatly disliked animals such as dogs and cats. The reasons she gave were not accurate, because she knew what she was hiding. Only those 2 animals could see it, and the dogs would not leave her alone. They would always bark whenever she was nearby, as if the animals themselves could see what no one else could. What the blind, meaning ordinary humans, could not see. But who was Sefertu really? And what was she hiding? And why did she hate those 2 animals? Was she the person we thought she was? Unfortunately, her secret was closely guarded. But they say in life that a secret, like a lie, is not eternal. One day it will come out, whether we want it to or not. From the moment of her arrival, Sefertu literally bewitched the village with her charm and radiance. But Fatima, although polite, sensed a coldness in the young woman's gaze, a distance that neither gifts nor attention could bridge. A discomfort settled in the mother's heart, a dull and persistent foreboding. Fatima indirectly sensed hostility and malice disguised as forced smiles on her daughter-in-law's face, as if she was hiding secrets, such as her true nature, from everyone. Fatima, cautious, knew the proverb that said, "Beware, and do not trust a woman who is very beautiful, for they are sometimes very deep individuals." Meanwhile, on the side of her son Jelani, Sefertu's husband, he was blindly in love and smitten with Sefertu. Jelani had become very wealthy, but unlike his wife Sefertu, he was not stingy. He loved giving gifts to the less fortunate, which was why he was greatly loved and respected in the village. Jelani had received good behavior and a good education from his mother Fatima, just as she had received it from her parents. But every time Sefertu discovered he was doing this, she would get angry and refuse to speak to him. Every night when she was angry, Jelani could not touch her. She would separate the bed or even force him to sleep on the floor or on the couch. But the people who had received gifts from Jelani would mysteriously fall ill. However, Jelani's happiness was blinding. He saw only perfection in Sefertu. Fatima, on the other hand, saw things differently. She noticed that animals avoided Sefertu, that milk sometimes curdled when she served it, and that the village children, acting on instinct, hid when she passed by. In life, beware of people who, wherever they go, always attract the fury of animals, or who make mistakes even in the kitchen, because these people harbor unspeakable secrets and are potentially dangerous. A few days later, the villagers no longer understood anything. The healers did not know what to do. It was panic. What were these unknown and incurable illnesses? It was all weeping. The village of Zauntaka, once a haven of peace, was turning into a place of nightmares because of one person whom no one truly knew, not the villagers and not even Jelani. At least, that's what the culprit thought. But Fatima, wise and very intelligent, would soon make the connection and trace it back to the traitor. Jelani went to visit his uncle Amadou, the younger brother of his mother Fatima. This uncle was like a father to him. Julani regarded him as such because he had been there for him when he needed financial help. In reality, before leaving the village, Julani and his mother did not have the necessary means to do so. It was thanks to his uncle Amadou, who sold his house to allow him to leave. So great was his trust in his nephew, he was willing to bet his life on his success. He had not been wrong. Julani had become very wealthy in less than a year after leaving the village, and today he came to make him very happy. Julani built a beautiful house for his uncle, to whom he owed his current wealth. Uncle Ahmed's life had been transformed, but unfortunately, Sefertu discovered this when she eavesdropped on the conversation between Julani and his mother Fatima in the living room. Sefertu, true to her selfishness, decided to do something. She swore to make life difficult for anyone unfortunate enough to eat her husband's money, and their punishment would depend on the gift they had received from Julani. A few days later, a tragic drama struck Zamtaka like lightning. Amadou, Julani's mischievous and vigorous uncle, was found lifeless in his new house, without any apparent injury.